guys, Analog Man here once again for another late night deck profile, and we are finally going into yellow hybrid. And for any of those that have been following the Japanese meta, this deck will essentially be one of the top tier decks, even with the ban and restriction list that has gone out. This deck is still really powerful, even with reinforce at 1. And as you can see from the title, my main focus is to essentially get into Jet Sylphie because she is our cyborg girl of the deck. So we will be focusing on trying to get that. We do run level 6s in this build, but it is very minimum because the main goal is to just kind of heal and kind of stall out your opponent and potentially go into Susanoo, which this deck only has one at the moment, but I am planning to get a second one and incorporating it into this. But for now, this is how the deck is going to be as kind of like a sort of template, just like my blue cyborg deck before. This is kind of a rough draft at the moment, and I will be doing more deck profiles as an update to this, and to show the progression of this deck and how I modify it to fit the format, essentially, depending on what people are playing, honestly. Anyway, let's actually get into the deck profile now. So let's start with the eggs. We run 4 Xiaomans. Xiaoman is just essentially there to set up purple options. Originally, I was running Gazimon, but it took up a bit too much space. You can run it because Gazimon is still really good because it stops memory gaining, and a lot of the new hybrids do give you memory in some capacity, so having that could potentially be a way to stop them. But for me, I haven't really run into that problem yet because yellow already kind of heals enough to the point where it doesn't really need to kind of worry about memory choking half the time. But it is nice to do it. But this is just here to set up the purple option that just came out in BT7. So yeah, just running 4, and honestly to kind of fake out your opponent so that way they don't know that you're just kind of playing a control variant essentially. Um, that's all for the eggs. Let's go into the rookies. For the rookies, we are running 2 Patamons because Patamon is really good, especially the BT1 version, because on play you can reveal 4 cards from the top of your deck and add all yellow tamers. This is really crucial because your deck does run a lot of yellow tamers, so you need to get them out as fast as possible to start evolving and essentially healing. Um, and this guy can get you all of them, especially if you draw multiples. Most of the other searchers only get you 1 tamer, but this gets you all of your yellow tamers, so you're basically guaranteed to get it, except for maybe 1 tamer in this, which is white. But yeah, that's 2 Patamons, and then we run, of course, the 4 Pokemons because it is the best searcher in BT7. It gets you a hybrid or 10 warrior and 1 tamer, and whenever you evolve a tamer, you get 2 memories. So essentially, you can continue your turn even further than it can usually go without this guy. So absolute must-have at 4. Very amazing card. Then that's actually all the rookies we're actually running. We only run these because this deck doesn't really need rookies until possibly BT8 or BT9, then it'll need it. But for now, these are the only ones that you really need to run in the deck so that you can search. Aside from that, you already have a lot of search power with the Tamers. So let's actually go into the level 4s, and we have 8 of them actually. We run the 4 Kaze because it is a easy 2-cost evolution hybrid, and then we run 4 of the Zephyrmon, its beast evolution form, which can evolve on top of it for 1 cost, and on any tamer for 2, just like Kaze. The cool thing though is that when digivolving, this actually makes all your security Digimon get plus 3000, and in conjunction with the TK tamer that you could run in this deck, it boosts it up by 5000, maybe 7000. So potentially you can make a tiny guy like that become 9000 or higher. So really nice card. It's also it is a 6 cost, so if you really needed to, you can hard play this. The only one that isn't really great for hard playing would be Jet Sylphie, but Kaze and Zephyr are really good for hard plays, especially if you're starting off with really a few memory, but you want to memory choke as much as possible. These are all the level 4s we run. We don't really run that many because our main focus is, of course, on the hybrids. So keeping it just as the hybrids is enough for this deck because this deck is already really fast. So yeah, let's go into level 5s. we of course run the girl herself, Jet Sylphie. Honestly, I've seen some builds running 3. I say no to that. Running 4 because she is basically the heart of the deck. For anyone that doesn't know what it does, it can evolve on top of any hybrid with a tamer for 1 cost, but it has to have a tamer in it to gain this ability where it will just evolve for 1. And usually with how this deck works, you're always guaranteed for that to go off. And then when it digivolves, because it has a hybrid in its trait, it will recovery +1. So you'll just heal your security every time you evolve into this. And then usually since you're cheating it out for 1 cost, you can evolve it into a level 6 that can heal or pop something or do or help you do other things. So it's really solid to go into her, and you have to run her at 4, no more, no less. Then you run 2 Magna Angemons. This can also be Rise Greymon, but I like having this as a hard play option to start healing, and the fact that its inherent does boost because this deck does build up its security really fast. So potentially you can boost your level 6 up by at least 2,000, which is really nice. That's all the level 5s we run. We only run about 6, which isn't really common in normal decks, but in hybrid decks, your main focus is to just turbo into your hybrids and swing and do things essentially. So having this few is fine. Let's go into level 6s. We only run 5. For my build specifically, I'm running 2 Seraphimons because this combined with the Jet Sylphie basically allows you to heal twice in 1 turn. Plus the fact is that if you have 3 or more security, it just automatically gets security +1. And in BT7, if you're playing against hybrids, the only thing you usually have to worry about is Susanoo and level 6s. So if you swing in and hit both their rookies or whatever, you're basically in the clear. Then we run 2 Dynasmon because Dynasmon helps us kind of stay in the game and it lets us search for two Digimon. And of course, it helps us ditch into the trash so that we can essentially start filling up to make a Susanomon for game basically. And then this is my spicy tech. Originally, I was running something different, but I actually really like this card. Kazuchimon is actually really cool because if you have 3 or more security, he kind of reduces himself down to 3 cost. And then if you have like 0 security, he heals you back up to 3, which is awesome. So in late game, this can essentially save you. And the fact that if you have 3 or more, it gains security +1. So you're basically guaranteed to start swinging harder with him, which is really nice. But he is kind of a tech. I've only seen builds maybe run 1 or 2. I honestly like it at 1 because then I can save it for a really late game. And then if my opponent has me down to 0 in 1 turn, like they rush me, but they can't kill me, I just evolve into this and then I just recover back and start swinging again, which is really nice. That's all level 6s. We run 5 because that way the deck can fit in a lot of options and tamers. Um, for level 7s, of course, we run the 1 Susanomon. This card is really busted. For those that do not know what it does yet, you can digivolve this card from your hand onto one of your tamers as if it's a level 6 by placing 10 tamers and or cards with hybrid in their traits from your hand or trash to the bottom of your deck. Basically, you're recycling 10 of your cards from your trash to summon him out on top of a tamer. And then the best part is that when he's digivolving, he can pop a Digimon. Originally, this could be cheated out using Mega Digimon Fusion, but as of the release of BT7, it will be banned. So essentially, you have to kind of do the 7 costs, but it's actually not too bad to do in yellow because usually you're memory choking, so your opponent has to kind of pass you to a certain amount, and you can always kind of put them to maybe like 4 or 5 and just kind of make this. And not only that is that it also gains security +2 by default. So next turn you're basically swinging really big, and you're gonna basically win. But yeah, I am planning to run another one once I get it. I'm planning to trade a friend for the second one. Shout outs to my friend Jason, who does testing with me in some of the other videos I do. He's helping me basically get the second one because he is getting alt arts, so he's trading me his normal. So yeah, thanks to him for that. Once I get that, I will be incorporating it into this deck because one Susanomon is okay, but having 2 would be better. So I do plan to add 1 more. That's basically all for the Digimon in this deck. The rest will be options and or tamers. So let's get into those. For options, we run the 4 Wyvern's Breath because we do want to remove stuff. and my build is sort of a more control variant, so I need this to essentially get rid of bigger threats. I also run 4 Holy Waves because Holy Wave helps you kind of stay in the game, and hitting in security is really nice because you can just keep your security at 5 or 4, however high you want it. And it is a 6 cost, so it's not too bad to hard play this as well. Um, then there's one Reinforcing Memory Boost. This card is still amazing even at 1. It sucks that it's gone to 1, but you know what? It's still super broken when you get it into hand. So obviously you have to have at least 1 copy in this. That's all for the yellow options. Then we get into the purple options, which are the 4 new purple option, Schwartz Licharts. I don't know how to pronounce this properly. For anybody who speaks German, in my comments, let me know how to honestly pronounce this. I know the first one is Schwartz, but this word I've never really heard, so I'm not fully 100% on how to pronounce it, but it is a super awesome card. It is a 6 cost, and it pops a basically it pops a level 5 or lower for each tamer and hybrid on the field. So potentially, if you have a ton of tamers and maybe like 3 or 4 hybrids, you can basically just pop their whole board. So it's crucial to have this, and it does trigger insecurity, so it's really powerful. Um, I think that's actually all for the options. We run exactly 8, 12, 13 options. So that way this deck does kind of feel a little bit, for those that have seen my previous videos, this does kind of look a little bit like security control with how many there is, but I don't know. I like having this amount of removal. That way I can get rid of things, heal up if I need to, and yeah, that's all the options for the deck. Let's get into the tamers. For the tamers, we of course run the 4 Zoes. She is really awesome, one of the best tamers to come out of the set. On play, she basically searches your security for any hybrid, and then if you do, you can recover. And if not, her inherent effect when you evolve gives all your security Digimon plus 3,000. So in conjunction with the TK tamer, you can potentially boost even higher and make all of your security Digimon really beefy. Then we run the 3 TKs because the original TK from BT1 is still really good because it lets you look at your security and essentially know exactly what is in there, and it helps you recover if you grab a yellow card, so really nice. Then this is the TK Tamer that I've been talking about. This one gives plus 2,000 to all your security Digimon. So in conjunction with Zoe, you can potentially make everything really big. And then this is our only non-white tamer. We run 2 Analog Boys. Sorry for the 2 artworks, but these are the only 2s I have left that aren't in other decks. This guy is still really good. I'm still kind of iffy on this. I might switch it back to the was it the TK and Kari, depending on how this works. But I feel like this should work. It does help you essentially kind of mill through your deck, and also it lets you gain a memory and hatch an egg really fast, which is really nice. That extra memory gain is really crucial sometimes, like potentially you can push it back to your turn, so really nice to have. But yeah, that's the deck. This deck is still kind of a work in progress, but in testing, this deck has done amazing things. Like it's healed up to basically almost like 8 to 9 security, just like a security control deck. Um, this deck is still kind of there is a risk though that I do warn the viewers here. The the problem is that with all the healing, you could potentially deck out. So you do have to be careful about that. Susanoo Oman is a must because it does help you resupply everything. But if you don't get it off, potentially you can deck out. So you have to be very careful of that. Honestly, along with that, you have to be very careful of blue hybrid because it can bounce a lot of things, and green can pierce through and pop suspend stuff. So you have to kind of figure out a way to get past that. For me, it's more like just kind of leaving an empty field so they can't really do much. Like they can swing, but it's not going to really do anything. And also swinging all your Digimon so that they die, and then that way there's nothing for them to trash. Then there's also red, which is still a huge threat. Red can still kind of get through this with Delicate Plan from what I've seen. It is still a little bit rougher, but this deck can recover enough to the point where it can survive a Security Plus Emperor Greymon or a Jessmon. So you should be able to survive it at least. And with how many Tamers you run, potentially your opponent will run into more Tamers and possibly benefit you. So it just depends. You can tech in stuff to maybe deal with red, but yellow already is kind of pretty powerful, so it should be able to overpower Jessamon easily. But I still have to do a little bit more testing. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of the deck. It's still work in progress, as I said. So let me know what you thought. Maybe some things that that you would change in it. As usual. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.